to contend with 4 True Name Nemesis. But obviously, Thomas is very familiar with his deck. So
this guy's tall. Are you kidding?
Yeah, he looks pretty short. We did a good
short,
job framing it. Yeah, they both look the same height here.
7 feet tall. Used to play basketball for the Michigan State Spartans. I mean, really likes to play Magic. That's for sure. I know when I sat down and we chatted before he played our match, you know, he was in a Michigan State warm-up, and I was like, you know, I'm the predictable idiot who's just, did you play basketball? He's just like, yeah, I did. And everyone asked me that, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to carry on this conversation anymore because I don't want to have the, hey, you're tall, you play basketball conversation.
Well, I'm 6'5", so every once in a while, people ask me, oh, did you used to play basketball? And I'll tell them no, and they always have the same disappointed look on their face, but I'm like, yeah, like, you have to be athletic, too. Like, you can't just be tall. You have to have some coordination.
But I thought you were a salsa dance champion.
Well, the skills from salsa dancing don't really translate well to the basketball court.
Understood. Deathrite Shaman off a tropical island is where we'll begin here for Dustin Penn. You've got Herzog going to lead off with a Savannah into a Mother of Runes. Penn takes a look at his hand, maybe considering a Force of Will there, decides to let that go. As far as this Maverick deck list is concerned, he is just green-white, does have access to Deathrite Shaman for a little bit of color fixing. Mother of Runes, just 1 Noble Hierarch. A lot of Thalias there for those. Couple copies of Kasali Pride Mage and Stoneforge Mystic. And of course, 4 Knight of the Reliquary, as Dustin Penn will sacrifice another Windswept Heath. Going to search out a land and see if he has one of these powerful 3-drops to play.
Yeah, this is kind of the ideal start for Dustin. He's got his 1-mana Accelerant, and it looks like he does have a True Name Nemesis. He also has a Geist of St. Traff, too, if he wants to try to deploy that. Given that there's a Mother of Runes in play, probably going to lead with the True Name Nemesis. It's just more powerful. He also has a Stoneforge in his hand, so really just the ideal start here.
It's a pretty good hand.
Against Maverick.
It's a pretty good hand, pretty good start.
He also has a Force of Will, and again, he has that Geist, so he could Force of Will something from Thomas. Given that he has a Stoneforge in his hand, I think if you're Dustin, the only thing that you're really afraid of is maybe an opposing Stoneforge, but realistically, it's probably just like a Phyrexian Revoker, because you just don't want to get your Stoneforge or the equipment that you search out for countered. Stop with the Revoker.
Swords of Plowshares in the house, going to take down Deathrite Shaman. You see Dustin really considering every spell that Herzog plays if he wants to Force of Will it or not. Herzog is now going to sacrifice a Verdant Catacombs, go down to 19. Going to search up a Bayou. Let's see what he wants to follow up with here.
Yeah, given that you have that Stoneforge in your hand, I think the only thing you really care about is just anything that can somehow deal with your True Name Nemesis, which there isn't much, and then something that can stop your equipment.
There's Deathrite Shaman. So Penn will untap with a True Name. He will take a draw. You see the Dryad Arbor in his hand. A couple of other options there as well. And you do continuously mention the Force of Will along with Geist of St. Traff, which is arguably the most important cards in the grip there for Penn. Be able to protect himself from something bad. Going to start by attacking for 3 Herzog down to 16.
Yeah, Stoneforge is really important in this deck too, because True Name Nemesis on its own doesn't necessarily win games all the time. It's really the combination of True Name plus equipment, which is so devastating against certain decks. Obviously, Thomas has the ability to race a True Name on its own. He's got Stoneforges along with Batterskull. So now Dustin's going to be able to search out Umazao Jite, and if that ever equips onto the True Name Nemesis, it's going to be very difficult for Thomas to overcome that.
Yeah, we're in an equipment-heavy matchup here. Even though Herzog only has 2 copies of Stoneforge Mystic, he has a Sword of Light and Shadow, a Sword of Fire and Ice, and an Umazao Jite, all in his main deck. You saw Penn search up the Umazao Jite. I'm going to assume he has a Batterskull as well.
Yeah, he also has a Sword of Fire and Ice. So most of these Stoneforge decks, you'll just see them with a Jite and a Batterskull. Both of these decks obviously have that extra piece of equipment.
Yeah, branching out a little bit. Herzog will take a draw here. You see, he does have the Sword of... One of those swords. I believe it's a Light and Shadow in his hand right now. The Modern Masters Edition. I was going to say Feast and Famine, but that is not in his main deck.
Yeah, so Dustin has to be a little concerned here because obviously a Sword of Feast, any sword of that can get equipped with the combination of Mother Runes could potentially erase a True Name Nemesis. So it's really important for him to get that Jite to stick. He does have a Force of Will.
Herzog's going to sacrifice this this Misty Rainforest. Going to search out a scrub land. Mana is good to go. Let's see what spell he wants to cast. It's going to be 4 mana. Remove that Windswept Heath. Maybe a Zenith for 3. Yep. And try to go get Knight.
The Reliquary can get pretty big.
Yeah, this is not too surprising. You can't let the Knight resolve. Even if it is Zenith getting Knight, you just get Knight's the centerpiece of this deck.
All right, so Dustin expended most of his resources now. He does have that Jitte in his hand, and it looks like he might have, not sure what the other card is, but again.
Geist.
Oh, Geist, yes. So he has, he still has that Jitte, so if he has a 4th land here, he can actually play the Jitte and equip, but it doesn't look like he has a 4th mana.
A little surprised to see Dustin remove the Brainstorm to the Force Will, assuming that he does have a Geist in his hand. Because it looks like the plan right now is, you know, the combo of True Name Nemesis plus an equipment. So we may have misread his hand. I'm not too sure, but I was pretty sure there was a Geist hiding out over there.
Yeah, I think he definitely has a Geist in his hand, and it looks like he drew a Stoneforge. So I'm with you. I would have rather, knowing that you're likely going to put the equipment into play this turn, I'd rather just maximize my mana. You can actually Brainstorm and put the equipment into play, do 2 things, and this turn he's basically not going to be able to cast the Geist either, unless he just wants to miss equipping Jitte next turn. Jitte plus True Name is just too good. I can't imagine wanting to play a Geist here.
Penn will just pass the turn back with a Stoneforge Mystic activation at the ready. Herzog's going to untap. He will take a draw. See if he can find anything helpful in this situation. One of the things that has actually kept Maverick down recently is the printing of True Name Nemesis. It's a very hard card for them to beat.
Yeah, after sideboard, obviously they have more options, but game 1 is very difficult for them. They can try to race it, but yeah, again, True Name Nemesis plus equipment is just very, very difficult for them to deal with. He does have that sort of Light and Shadow. He could actually cast it and equip it to the Mother if he wants to try to get some life. Looks like he's going to play a Thalia. That won't stop Dustin's plan because you just put in the Umezawa Jitte into play off the Stoneforge Mystic. So
it's a Deathrite Shaman activation. Gonna remove a land from the graveyard. 2. There's a Kozali Pride Mage. That's important.
Great card there. Kozali Pride Mage will be able to deal with the Umezawa Jitte. Dustin does have another Stoneforge in his hand, so he can search out another piece of equipment, but that's definitely going to slow Dustin down a lot.
Yeah, the Jitte plan is kind of up now, so Mother Runes are still hanging back on defense, of course. That thing's not going to go anywhere. Herzog needs to just start creating an offense. That's the issue right now.
Yeah, he does. I believe the last card in his hand is a Sword of Light and Shadow. So if he can get that into play, that's great because not only will it give him a boost in offense, but he could also return that Kozali Pride Mage to his hand. So suddenly things are looking pretty good for Thomas because he has that Kozali Pride Mage.
Jitte in off the Stoneforge. Penn will untap his permanents. We'll take a draw. Again, we know about the other Stoneforge and the Geist of Saint trapped in his hand. Not sure what the mystery card drawn was this turn. But the equipment strategy going to get taken care of by this Kozali Pride Mage. Timely. And here comes True Name because there's no sense in equipping that Jitte. So in we go. And Herzog will take the 3. He's going to go down to 9.
Yeah, and he has to be a little concerned about his life total here because especially if Dustin plays the Geist here.
He's just going to go with the Stoneforge.
Yeah, he's going to go for Stoneforge.
Probably, I mean, search up Batterskull. Go ahead and grab that. Again, the equipment aren't very good right now, but...
Well, he's at 18.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know about the Sword of Light and Shadow.
That's
so
also true.
He assumes that Thomas only has one way to deal with an equipment right now, Kozali Pride Mage. Obviously, he's going to have to alter his plan if Thomas does go for Sword next turn. But right now, I think Dustin's still okay with the way things are going.
Follow up with a Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, so Dustin could actually equip the Umezawa Jitte next turn. So, he's going to draw a card for the turn.
I could be wrong about that.
And let's see what he decides to do here. Thalia prevents all non-creature spells.
Yeah.
Makes all non-creature spells cost 1 more. So the sword will cost 4 mana. So if he doesn't have another land to play, he won't be able to equip it now. But yeah, it looks like he does have another mana. So let's see here. Yeah, if the last card is a Sword of Light and Shadow, which I believe it is, yes. I think his best play here is to probably just cast it, equip Thalia, and attack. Because it gives the creature protection from black and white, Dustin won't be able to block with any of his creatures.
But is that okay? Like, because...
Oh, you know what?
He's stuck on mana. He won't be able to activate the Pride Mage then.
I think the main problem here is that he didn't activate the Pride Mage at the end of Dustin's turn.
Yeah.
He needed to get rid of the Jitte. Now he's kind of in a tough spot where he can't really do it now.
So, like, I'm perfectly fine with him just playing Sword and passing.
Yeah.
And then having the Pride Mage available, because if he tries to do it all in one turn, the Deathrite Shaman on Dustin's side starting next turn can mess things up because of Thomas's Deathrite Shaman and that little game of chicken they have to play. But I'm perfectly fine if he just sacrifices a fetch land, taps 4 mana, plays a sword, passes the turn back with the ability to sacrifice his Pride Mage to take care of the Jite, and then the next turn equipping something. And just like being a little bit more mana efficient that way.
Yeah, I think Thomas basically just made a slight mistake. He needed to sack the Quasali Pride Mage at the end of Dustin's turn to deal with the Jite. And now, if you cast the equipment, equip, attack, you can get your Pride Mage back before the Deathrite even becomes active.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, now he is only going to be able to get that one activation off of it.
I'm also trying to figure out if there's any merit here to just equipping. If you equip the Pride Mage, it won't die. And that's not the worst spot to be in.
No, I don't know. This is a I'm not quite sure I agree with this line right here.
It's aggressive.
It's very aggressive, but I don't think you can deal, because basically Dustin's just going to equip his, Umezawa Jite to the True Name Nemesis, and then he'll just kill the Pride Mage, and then he just activates Deathrite Shaman to get rid of the Pride Mage.
Yeah. Yep.
So all of a sudden, now you're just dealing with True Name Nemesis plus Jite.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can try to race that with Sword, but I don't think you win that race.
It's going to be a tough race to win. This is the path that Herzog has taken. Maybe he's feeling that 3 life that he can gain right away might be able to help him win this race. We're going to see as Thai does come across here for 4 points of damage, plus the trigger. Returns something from the graveyard. Nothing down there, only lands in the Green Sun Zenith.
Yeah, because let's not forget, when Dustin removes the Quasali Pride Mage from the graveyard, he is going to gain 2 more life, too. So right now he's taking 4. He'll go to 14. Thomas will gain 3 life. He can bring a creature from his graveyard, but he doesn't have one. Sword of Light and Shadow is a card that you guys probably haven't seen a lot of. Sword of Fire and Ice is obviously one of the more popular swords, but Sword of Light and Shadow is obviously very good, too. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life, and you return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Thomas obviously doesn't have any creatures in his graveyard, but the whole idea was if he sacrificed the Pride Mage last turn, he'd be able to get it back. He would have dealt with the Jite and been able to get it back this turn before Dustin's Deathrite Shaman would have been active.
Yeah, have an answer to the Batter Skull, too.
Yeah, so what turned out to, what could have been a really dominant situation for Thomas becomes somewhat precarious now, because now he taps out. He's no longer able to actually activate his Pride Mage because he has no more mana left. And that means that not only will it die likely to Umezawa Jite, but it could get removed by the Deathrite Shaman as well.
As you can tell, play has stopped here. There is a judge call taking place, and I would make a hefty wager that this involves Exalted from the Quasali Pride Mage. And if it's an attack for 4, it's an attack for 5. So we're going to bring it back to the booth here. Once we do have an answer to what exactly is going on, we'll certainly let you guys know. Cedric Phillips, Osil Babadovich, back here in the booth in Indianapolis. It looks like it's going to be a difficult game for Herzog to win now, because of maybe that slight misstep that you mentioned.
And it's funny because we thought, oh, wow, he drew Pride Mage. Now he has an answer to the Jite, and even though Thomas can get the Batter Skull, it's still going to slow him down. Plus, because of the Sword of Light and Shadow, you can actually get back that Pride Mage. Thomas changed things up by playing the Deathrite Shaman. As soon as he plays Deathrite Shaman, you have to realize, one, my whole Light and Shadow plan becomes very precarious if I don't deal with it now. And 2, like, I can't, because of Thalia, I don't have enough mana to do everything to actually activate the Pride Mage when I need to. So he had to really, maybe he just forgot about Thalia. Maybe he thought he could actually activate it on his turn. But yeah, clearly he kind of missed an opportunity there, because right now, I'm not quite, as long as Thomas does things the way he should, basically, on his turn, equip my True Name Nemesis with Umezawa Jite, attack, you take 3, Jite gets 2 counters, I'll kill your Pride Mage while you're tapped out, and then I'll activate my Deathrite Shaman. Again, while you're tapped out, you can't do anything to remove your Quasali Pride Mage. I don't see, you still have a creature equipped with Sword, but now you're dealing True Name Nemesis and Jite, and you're at a much lower life total than your opponent. So it's going to be tough for Dustin to come out of this, for Thomas to come out of this one. I'm just not sure he can.
As far as redraws are concerned, there are 2 more Quasali Pride Mage, and that means that there are also 3 more Green Sun Zeniths as well.
Yeah, so he definitely has draws. He has no cards left in his hand, though.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to top deck either another Pride Mage or a Green Sun Zenith.
Maybe an equipment would help, too. You know, like a JT of his own, or sort of Fire and Ice, maybe?
It would certainly help with the race. And again, he still has a Deathrite Shaman to kind of gain life that way, potentially, if creatures are bouncing, if creatures are dying. But basically, the game went from being very, very winnable to very precarious now for Thomas. It's going to be a tough situation for him.
Yeah. So we will again join that match in progress when we do have a second. Again, just resolving a judge ruling. It probably has to do with the Exalted Trigger and Kasai Pride Mage. There's a, you know, when do you announce the Exalted Trigger? Do you have to announce the Exalted Trigger? You can attack and then say take 5, and then the opponent can say you didn't announce the Exalted Trigger. You know, so exactly how that works is probably what they're discussing. If it's something else, we'll certainly let you guys know. But while we do wait for that, we can go back to the.
Some questions?
We can go back to the phone.
Do we have more questions?
We can go back to the phone. Do I have more questions? Was that a joke?
All right.
All I have is questions, Osa.
I saw one question that I think you kind of glossed over, and it was, who's the better dresser? And, you know,
I don't answer questions. It's an obvious answer.
Kind of feel like, you know.
Your best friend, Phil Napoli, said that I dress better than you.
What does Phil know?
Yeah. So I actually think, so here's the thing. Your tie wins, I think.
Thank you.
Just that's all that it is. I think you do better. I can be humble. It's fine. I can be humble. People are wondering how tall Thomas is. He's 7 foot tall. What are you doing?
I'm just. I forgot that we're on camera right now.
What are you doing? Thomas is 7 feet tall. You're the only person I've ever met, by the way, ever. I thought this was a movie thing that people open up their coat and they put their phone in it. Yeah. I didn't think people actually did that in real life.
What are you, nuts? That's the best part of wearing a sports coat. You get to put stuff in your pocket.
I did not know that people actually do that. You do that like it's just every day.
You know why? I'll give you a little hint. It's because you don't want your pants to look bulky, so you don't want to put stuff in your pants pockets. Come on. What is this?
I'm learning right now.
This amateur hour?
Yeah, this is you know, Men's Warehouse 101 right now. That's what's going on. Okay. I've never done that before. I think it would be uncomfortable to have that thing in there. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Can we please put High Tide on camera?
No, absolutely not. Hey, if they win, if they make the finals, then you'll see them.
Under no circumstance.
Well, don't get me wrong. High Tide is one of those decks where there are certain pilots, we've seen them, they play High Tide all the time.
Yeah.
Watching someone who really knows what they're doing with High Tide, it's actually a thing of beauty sometimes. I mean,
agree.
It's a very, very interesting deck to kind of navigate. One of the more interesting combo decks. You don't see them very often. It can be somewhat tiresome to watch, but you know, there are so many decisions to make, and the people who play that deck, they're not someone who just picks up High Tide. They know what they're doing with the deck.
Sure.
So it's like a well-oiled machine with them. It takes time to win. That's what usually takes so long, but they know what they're doing. So they're going through all the process, and it's very interesting to watch. I'm not sure I'd want to watch it for like an hour and a half, which is like sometimes can happen. But
I was thinking about Dallas when Matthias and I did the show back there a couple months ago. Joe Lissette lost in the finals. But he beat Colin Chilbert in the top 4. We watched Chilbert a couple times that day. It was fun for a couple of reasons. One, Colin is great at playing the deck. Mm-hmm. He's played it for a while. He didn't even want to play it that day, but he had nothing else to bring with him, so he ended up playing High Tide and making the top 4 with it. But 2, Matthias is a big High Tide aficionado.
Yeah,
he
loves High Tide.
He enjoys playing High Tide mirrors for fun.
Yeah.
Which
he genuinely likes it.
Yeah, which is completely absurd behavior. And seeing him light up like a Christmas tree when we had High Tide on and being able to explain all the intricacies of what Colin was doing, I was like, you know what, Matthias, I'm just going to let you go ahead. I'll take the back seat for once, and you tell everybody what's going on.
The same thing happened to us. I believe it was in Nashville, where I was doing a show with Matthias, and there was a High Tide player, and I'm like, go ahead. He literally just took care of everything.
Yeah.
I just sat back, relaxed.
I know all the interactions. I know he knew how much mana Colin had floating. And everything. It was insane.
Oh, wow. So did Dustin make a mistake here? Oh, he has a Swords to Plowshare, so he might just plow the Kozali Pride Mage. Because I was going to say,
the green mana?
Want to just leave a green mana up? Oh, he can actually cast the Swords to Plowshare because of Thalia. Unless he kills the Thalia, but Thalia has a sword on it. So Dustin might have made a slight error here because he needs a green mana, I believe, to activate Deathrite Shaman to remove a creature. Deathrite Shaman, multiple abilities.
Well, he can just go activate Deathrite Shaman, remove the land from the graveyard.
But he doesn't have. How is he going to remove it though? He needs
what do you mean?
He needs a green mana to needs to tap.
So I'm saying activate Deathrite Shaman and use the Tundra to swords the
in
order
to swords it. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So he can use that, but that seems pretty inefficient because you're basically throwing away a sword.
There's some other runes in play.
Yes.
But Mother. Okay, so JT can kill Mother of Runes.
JT has to kill. Yeah, it's a lot of work when he can just tap the green. Yeah. So he could technically do this, but let's see if he makes a mistake. Because, yeah, theoretically he could remove one counter to kill Mother of Runes, and then activate Death or Shaman to remove a mana, to remove a land to get another mana so he can actually cast the Source of Plethora to Thalia, dealing with the Ghazali Pride Mage. Whereas, realistically, he could have just removed 2 counters to kill the Pride Mage and then activate Death or Shaman to remove him from the graveyard.
All right, so I think he's figured it out now. So he's going to go, all right, remove a GT counter, target your Mother of Runes. Mother of Runes is going to activate. It's going to target something. It's going to try to target Thalia, I think. Even though it can't do that because of the sword.
Yeah, I think they can't actually target it. So protection from white.
Yeah, it's already got protection from white, so it can't target that.
So either way, though, it looks like Dustin's going to actually just source the Plowshare, the Ghazali Pride Mage, and it shouldn't really matter much.
So now you see kind of the players just kind of moving back and forth. Now we're going to remove. Yeah, I think they're gonna rewind because targeting Thalia is not legal. Yeah. Because of the sword. So he's targeting something else. He's, all right, I'm going to target the Pride Mage. I think Dustin's going to say, in response to that, I'm going to remove a land, and I'm going to swords this. Now it's going to cost 1 more because the Thalia's in play, so he's going to have to tap the Tundra to do that.
All right. So eventually, we're
gonna get this game straight.
We're gonna get this game straight.
Okay. These things are we're not on our watch. Will these players do anything illegal?
So Dustin is able to deal with the Ghazali Pride Mage now. It is gone for good because of the exile ability of Source Splasher. And now Thomas is basically in top deck mode. He needs a Green Sun Zenith or a Ghazali Pride Mage, one of the 2 left in his deck, I believe.
Yeah. We're the eyes in the sky.
The eyes in the sky.
We're like the Vegas casino security.
So Thomas in a tough spot here. He can get back that Mother of Runes if he hits with Thalia. But again, Mother of Runes, there's a counter on the Jitte. It's probably not going to stick around very long.
He's reaching for mana already.
3 mana. What do we have here? Knight of Reliquary?
That's not so good right now. If that's what it is, it's not so good. It's a Jitte.
Wow, Jitte. So that changes things a little bit.
I think that matters a lot, actually. Because, like, we're in a racing situation, and Herzog can gain a lot of life with sword plus Jitte counters and kill stuff. I don't know how important it is to kill, like the Stoneforge Mystics and the Dryad Arbor and the Deathrite Shaman, but we are certainly in a racing situation. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, he can actually get back the Mother and cast it this turn off the Deathrite if he wants to, just to get something into play. Obviously, Dustin can still use a counter, but that means that counter isn't pumping the True Name Nemesis.
Yeah. So 2 counters placed in the Jitte, target this, gain a little bit of life.
It doesn't look like there might be any lands left in the graveyard, though.
I don't think so, no. This game's about to get real complicated because life totals are going to change quite a bit.
Yeah, I wonder if the best play here... Yeah, you probably have to keep the Jitte counters on it just in case Dustin tries to kill the Thalia. You're going to get 3 counters on your Jitte. Yeah, so I think you have to. You're just gonna have to try to kill. It's gonna be hard though.
Well, he's gonna go removing. He said, "I want to kill the Dryad Arbor."
Okay, so that should be still fine. At least you have 1 counter, so you can still protect your Thalia from the Umazao Jitte.
You see, Penn, the one thing we do know is that he has a Batter Skull in his hand still, and that Geist of Saint Trap from much earlier in the game.
Yeah, I think Dustin's still probably gonna win this game, but things got a little hairier now because of that top deck Jitte from Herzog. Let's see what Dustin wants to do. I imagine the first thing he wants to do is attack with True Nemesis. Oh no, he's gonna hold it back to block. So he is afraid of the race here.
Wow. Pumping the brakes. This is where he draws a Sword of Fire Dice, by the way.
So wow, this is a very, very interesting situation here.
That's a spell.
Because Thomas has a Scrubland in play and a Bayou, so he has access to black, so he can actually start draining Dustin. Whereas Dustin can't really respond because he doesn't have black mana.
Wasteland gonna come down now. Probably take down this white source. We'll see if he wants to take out the white or the green. Putting a land in the graveyard is a real thing right now too. Just because of the Deathrites that are in play. And you're gonna activate Stoneforge Mystic here. Float the mana. Okay, so Germ Token's going to come in.
That Batter Skull comes into play. That's going to help him put a little more pressure on. Thomas basically can't really attack right here. Here comes that Mother of Runes.
What's this going to be?
Wow, another Mother of Runes. So now Dustin's in a tough spot because he can't really just hold back a blocker anymore. Obviously, he has 1 counter left on his Jitte, so that can kill one of the Mother Ruins. Thomas has a giant pro-black first striker to block the germ token. So if you're Dustin, I think you have to attack with True Name Nemesis here to kill those Mother Ruins. You can't just hold him back to block anymore. Especially if Thomas starts activating his Death Ray Shaman and drops you to 7.
Wasteland's the land for Penn. So this is where things get really hairy, because this is a lot of creature combat and creature math now at this point. And how familiar are either of these players with this situation? You think things would probably favor the Maverick player because this is the kind of game they want to get into. This kind of hairy, weird, game that they're in right now.
If you're Thomas, given how this game started, Dustin went turn 1 Death Ray, turn 2 True Name Nemesis. If you're Thomas, you got to be ecstatic that you've gotten to this point in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you've actually have a chance to win.
Now True Name's going to come in again, it looks like.
Yeah, True Name has to come in now because he has to deal with the Mother Ruins. I mean, he can't hold back a blocker. I actually thought he should have attacked last turn. So yeah, True Name is going to come in here. It's going to attack for 3, dropping Thomas to 8. And he will get 2 more counters on that Jite.
And you think he should just use that to kill the Mothers?
He has to. He can't afford to let them become active.
Okay. Those both bite the dust.
So Thomas will get a hit in. And that will be a hit for potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. And he can drain here, dropping him to 7.
Well, he's going to go drain for sure because there's nothing the Deathrite Shaman can do about it.
Yeah.
Because there's only the Tropical. So he removes the Swords of Plowshares. Penn goes down to 7.
So I think this could be lethal here because, again, the Germ token is black. And so is Deathrite Shaman, and Stoneforge Mystic's white. So there's really no creatures that can block here. If he has to gain 2 life with the Jite in order to go up to 9.
So virtual 9 right now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I think if Thomas pumps here, Dustin can go down to 1, even because the Deathrite Shaman can drain again.
But he can't finish him. So if he can't finish him, there's no reason to pump, right?
No, I think you still pump because you're going to get 2 more counters anyway. I think you got to put pressure on him because you don't know if you'll be able to get an attack in again because the True Name Nemesis can start to block and Deathrite Shaman will just finish him off that way because you have a Green Sun Zenith in your graveyard and there's a Force of Will in his, so you get 2 more activations at least.
Okay.
Oh, so it looks like he didn't pump though.
Much more conservative.
Wow, so very conservative here.
Mother of Runes. Whatever sword targets, Deathrite Shaman's going to remove it. And this allows Penn to actually go up in life.
I think you have to respond by removing it because it's effectively the same thing, right? If you're going to remove it, if you're going to drain him for 2, you'd rather him not gain 2 life.
Sure, sure.
But instead, it looks like Thomas decided to let it resolve.
So Penn goes up to 5. Looks like Herzog has a spell to play. It is another Deathrite Shaman, okay. Now, does he have to move a sword over? Is a question I think is really interesting.
I don't think he can because if he does that, then the Thalia can die to another attack from True Name Nemesis.
My only concern with that is because now Batterskull has the ability to attack, to gain 4 life.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So maybe you needed to get something protection from black. I mean, the alternative play is, Batterskull comes in and you remove 3 GT counters from it to make it a 1/1. And then you can double block with Deathrite Shamans to be able to beat that in combat, and then he only gains a life. But then the GT that Penn has moves up to 3 counters. It can take care of the Thalia, and the game gets a little bit complicated then.
I think that was definitely a mistake on Thomas' part. He probably has to move over the sword to the Deathrite that he just cast, and then activates the other Deathrite at the end of Dustin's turn. Although I still think he should have just pumped. It would have been a lot easier for him if he just got Dustin down to 1 this turn.
So in comes, now this is interesting. It looks like just Batterskull. No True Name.
Yeah, so if that's the case, then I think you're right. I think your play is probably right. You have him only gain 1 life.
Yeah, do you just go GT triple remove, make your guy into a 1/1, block with both my Deathrite Shamans? Because if you block with just 1, Penn can remove his GT counter on the Deathrite Shaman that you block with to make it no 1, and you lose that combat, and you lose your Deathrite Shaman.
You know what? I think if you're Thomas, you're okay with it. You're just gonna let it. You're just gonna take 4, and you're just gonna try to win with Deathrite Shaman, and possibly try to get in 1 more attack with the Thalia somehow.
Okay.
Again, you can draw a Sword of Fire and Ice. You can draw a Quasali Pride Mage. Actually, Quasali Pride Mage I guess won't matter. It's really Sword of Fire. It's a Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, I guess, the question here is, how much is him gaining 4 life mana?
It definitely matters, but I mean, yeah, Dustin's at 8. I just don't think you want to lose your Deathrite Shamans.
It looks like Penn might be going for for Geist.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. That 4/4 flyer that Geist creates, we haven't seen Geist Saint Trap for a while here in coverage. But that 4/4 flyer it creates can really mess up the combat math now. All right, Herzog, it's time to activate those Deathrite Shamans, that's for sure. So the first one is going to go active. It's going to probably remove an instant or sorcery here from the graveyard. We'll see if he wants to gain life or drain life. He's going to remove the Force Will.
Yeah, and I kind of wish he just removed his Mother Runes in response to the turn before, because it's the same thing. Dustin would have stayed at 6, he wouldn't have gained 2 life, but you would have been at 2 higher life.
Sure.
Which can be very relevant here, given the fact that Geist is 2 hits in the air for 8, potentially.
This is 3 mana. What is this?
Is this Sword? Maybe Thalia in play. It's probably, it's a Knight or Wild card.
Okay.
So that could be relevant. Does he have a Sageri step or something to search out?
Any spice. 4 Wastelands, a Caracas, a Cradle, a Dried Arbor, Horizon Canopy is already used. No real spice down here.
Caracas can bounce to Jete.
No. Legendary creature.
That's right.
No. That'd be too good.
So, yeah, there's nothing that great that's going to break open the game. He can get a Horizon Canopy, I guess, unless he already used it.
Yeah, he used the only one that he's got.
Yeah. So nothing too spicy there.
Deathrite Shaman's going to remove a land from the graveyard just so that Knight gets a little bit smaller. The mana that's generated goes unused. Penn going to untap and take a draw here and see if he can work his way through the rest of this combat and the rest of this game. Game has already gotten complicated enough.
So let's see here. If you're Thomas, I don't think, if Dustin doesn't do anything this turn, I don't think you can afford to do anything either. I think you want to just untap, because if you activate your Deathrite Shaman, then Dustin's just going to respond by removing a creature and gaining 2 life. I don't think you can't let him gain 2 life.
Sure.
You have to use your Deathrite in response. So you have Deathrite Shaman advantage right now. Okay. You don't want to give it up. Dustin just has a Daze and a Jace, the Mind Sculptor. Because of Thalia, he can't cast that Jace. Daze might be relevant, but so it looks like Thomas is going to activate.
See what he targets. He's going to go with, okay, he's going to go with Swords.
So is Dustin going to use his Deathrite Shaman now? No, he doesn't. So Thomas gets a little fortunate there, because Dustin could have responded when he didn't have the ability to actually activate Deathrite. The second Deathrite, rather.
7-4 are the life totals. Who can punch through for the last points of damage? You've got this cluttered board state on Penn's side. He's got a Batter Skull with the Germ on it. He's got 2 Stoneforge Mystics, but he's already got both the equipment out of his deck, so those are just Squires right now. A Geist of Saint Traft, a True Name Nemesis with a GT on it with 1 charge counter, and a Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite can only actually be activated for the land ability or the green ability to remove a creature. Can't activate the black ability. Herzog's side, he's got another Reliquary with maybe a land or 2 in the graveyard. Now Herzog's going to respond by moving a creature in response to the Deathrite Shaman activation, a play that you were advocating. You also got the Thalia out there that's equipped with a Sword of Light and Shadow, and Umuzao with 3 counters, and then 2 Deathrite Shamans for Herzog.
So let's see. Another mana source would be useful here. He can actually cast, or actually no, he doesn't have enough, because if Deathrite tries to remove a land for mana, Thomas can just respond by removing it. So yeah, Jace doesn't look like he'll be able to come into play just yet, but it doesn't look like Dustin sees it.
Let's Jace, man. You get excited.
So let's see what happens here. He's gonna go down to 3, which is gonna be very relevant.
Interesting thing too here is that Knight of the Reliquary finally gets to do stuff. It's just chilling out like it's not even there. Now the Reliquary does a lot. 4. You got to pay. You got to pay 1 more.
Now he sees it. Hello.
He's like, no, I can't.
Oh, this is so awkward.
I can't cast Jace. What are we gonna do with that 4 mana? Nothing.
Nothing. I wasn't gonna do anything. What are you talking about? You don't know what's going on.
I'm just gonna play a War Mammoth.
So it looks like he's gonna try to activate first, and let's see what Thomas does. Now, if you're Thomas, you have to smell what's coming.
Yeah, you have to activate that. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
You do not get to touch this.
Okay, so I think Thomas thought about it, but I think because Dustin tapped 4 mana, I think
Yeah,
the jig is
you have to know. Unless that's like the super
the
bluff
super
or something.
bluff.
No. You don't get this land.
That would be a sweet bluff to kind of just stop Thomas from activating his death, right? But again, there's no spells anyway, I don't think, left.
No, there's no spells. There's just lands over there for Penn.
There might be a Green Sun Zenith. I think there might still be a Green Sun
there's a
Zenith,
GSC over there for Herzog.
So Dustin's effectively at 5 because there still is a Jete counter that he has.
What are we doing here?
It looks like we're going to move a Jete over.
To who? To Stoneforge?
Oh, that's weird because, again, the Thalia has pro white and
yeah,
for strike.
and for
so
strike.
Nothing's going to happen here. It's going to eat it up.
This is a safe block.
Yeah. Sorry, you are not getting counters.
And this is what I was talking about when, like, if you've never been in situations like this before, like all of this crazy creature combat and stuff, where all of the text matters right now.
Yeah, everything matters. Thalia's been quite obnoxious this game.
Yeah. All the text that's happening on all these cards matters. First strike, oh crap, I don't get GT counters. No, you don't. You know, the protection from the swords, all of this stuff matters.
Yeah, there are a number of reasons why your play will not work.
Now the Williker is going to go sacrifice a forest. You saw Herzog float a green mana. See what land he wants to search out here. Again, no real spice. He can go wasteland hunting right now to build up a graveyard, go after the Bayou to make it so that the Deathrite Shaman for Penn is a lot worse.
Yeah, but it looks like he didn't go after the Tropical. It looks like he went after... Oh,
he went for the Bayou, yeah. He went for the Bayou.
So that's a good play there. And the other thing is it keeps him off Jace even further. So pretty big play
Well,
there.
what we think is a Jace.
What we think is a Jace. We don't know.
We don't know.
We have no idea.
Again, it could be War Mammoth.
Could have been Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
Herzog is going to untap. He's going to take a draw here. Can he deal the last 3? Well, he's reaching for mana. It looks like he drew something of relevance.
Yeah, it's just there's no spells in the graveyard other than that one Green Sun Zenith. So it's just it looks like there's a Dryad Arbor in Dustin's graveyard, so he's got to be wary of that too. Make sure that the creature's ability of Deathrite Shaman doesn't. You don't want Dustin to gain life here. Ooh, it looks like there's a Green Sun Zenith he drew.
Interesting. Let's see what the Zenith targets could be here in just a moment. A Swords of Plowshares too. Herzog is going to start by adding mana, and then I think it looks like he wants to activate Knight. Okay, so he's going to add mana from the Savannah and then activate the Knight. Maybe. Quite possibly.
He's considering it.
He's going to add mana. Okay, he's going to sacrifice. All right.
He does have a Gaia's Cradle to go for, so he's plenty of mana. He wants it.
Get the Cradle. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Not messing around here.
Cradle's going to be able to provide 4 mana.
He can Green Sun Zenith for the world here, right?
Yeah, he can. He can get this. He can go get Pride Mage, which was like the best card anyway, I think. He's anything for a bunch. We'll see what he wants to search for. I think Penn's trying to figure out if he should let this resolve because Penn has the Daze in his hand, but he can't cast Daze because of Thalia.
Oh, you know what? If he floated a white, right?
Yeah.
So if he floated a white, this could be a very good play here. He could actually, so he has like 4 mana. I think he has 1 green and 1 white floating. So if he actually activates the Pride Mage targeting the Jete, and then Dustin responds by gaining 2 life, Thomas can respond by casting Swords to Plowshare targeting one of his own creatures, and then activating both Deathrite Shamans. It depends on how much mana he has left in his hand. Because he has the Green Sun Zenith in his graveyard. He has that Sword to Plowshare in his hand. So with Dustin at 3, depending on how much mana he has floating and what color it is, he could actually make a pretty interesting play here.
That'd be a sick play.
He has those 2 lands. The 2 lands being linked to Deathrite Shamans can actually activate enough to do 4 damage if he has 2 spells in his graveyard.
Yeah.
But it's all about the timing, because you can't let him gain 2 life with the Jete.
He's going to start ticking down. He says, I want to take care of your Deathrite Shaman. Get that thing out of here. All right. That problem is solved.
Yeah, so I don't think he had enough mana left. The Gaia's Cradle generated 4 mana, and he had a white floating, and he needed to use 4 in order to get the Kozali Pride Mage. So I don't think he had enough for that
Yeah, I don't
play.
think so either. All right, so now Pride Mage with the mana floating says, I want to take down the Jete.
Yeah, so maybe he does have 2. Yeah, maybe he does have 2 spells in his graveyard. I know the one Green Sun Zenith was countered, so and the one he just cast was shuffled back into his library.
Yep. So there are definitely two. There is one spell in the graveyard. There's a Zenith in the graveyard, and he's got the swords in his hand. But he doesn't have the mana to do the play that you talked about, to do all of those things. But
either way, though, still pretty good shape. He's still got the Deathrite Shaman. He'll be able to activate once, and then he still has the Swords to Plowshare in his hand. Next turn, he can just cast it on one of his creatures and then get that other spell in his graveyard.
There's Noble Hierarch. That doesn't matter too much. True Name can't really do anything in this position besides play defense. Batterskull can't attack because of Thalia having protection from black. Herzog is going to go activating this Deathrite Shaman now. It's going to remove something. I believe it's going to be the Green Sun, which it is. Penn goes down to 3.
Yeah, and the awkward thing is because Thomas used the Pride Mage, he's still going to be off on spells. Like, ideally, Thomas should have used his Pride Mage when he was ready to cast the Swords to Plowshare on his turn. So that way, he's able to actually do enough damage in response to him gaining life.
Sure.
Because now Dustin's at 3, even though he could get a Swords to Plowshare into his graveyard, Dustin will remain at 1, and he doesn't have any other way to break through right now.
Herzog going to take a draw here. He's got a bunch of mana from the Cradle. He can tap for 4 green. See what this is. That's Noble Hierarch. There's a green mana floating. 3 of them, excuse me.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you signed up for Commander Pod number 4, your event is ready for you.
That one doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, so Thomas really not much he can do right here. He's got that Swords in his hand. Again, he can cast on one of his own creatures to get another spell in the graveyard. But again, Dustin will just be at 1 life.
Yeah, Stoneforge missing the draw here.
So we're basically playing a waiting game. Dustin's not going to be able to do anything either. He's not really able to break through.
Yeah, he can't get through at all.
He has 1 piece of equipment left in his deck, I believe. Another sword, so you can find that now.
The only good thing that he can do is, I guess if he draws the 5th land, you see him search up the sword here, he can move the Batterskull over the True Name.
Oh, yeah. And then that's huge because Batterskull plus the Exalted trigger from Noble Hierarch, you're talking about 8 points of life gain here.
Yeah.
So if he can just get another source of mana, he's in really good shape.
If you're Herzog, you probably have to kill that Noble Hierarch with the Jute counter because of that being a line of play.
Yeah, you have to kind of see that.
Here's more mana being added. Let's see what Tom can do now. Ah, he's tapping a little more. So 5, 6, 4 left. That's Sword of
Fire. Oh, that's it.
That's Sword
it.
of Fire and Ice?
That is pro blue there. So he had 6 mana floating. Now he has 4 mana floating. So he can cast this and play around Daze, which we know is in Dustin's hand.
Cast this.
He has no mana left in his pool, and now he has plenty of mana to equip. So that should be it here. His creature will have pro black, pro white, pro
he
blue,
beat
pro
him!
red.
He beat him! He beat turn 2 True Name. Oh my God!
Turn 2 True Name, turn 3 Search for Jite. Thomas Herzog and his Maverick deck were able to win.
God! Wins game number 1 through that cluttered affair, a marathon game. Herzog up 1 with Maverick over Dustin Penn playing Bant mid-range. Let's go to the sideboard. Let's start with Dustin's. You've got that in front of you.
Well, there's 2 minutes left in the round, so hopefully we'll get
they've
to
got
a
an
game
extension.
2.
They've got an extension. We've got 14 minutes.
So in Dustin's sideboard, he's got 2 copies of Ethos Worn Canonist, 4 Meddling Mage, 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Graft Digger's Cage, 3 Croson Grip, and 2 Humility. Honestly, he doesn't really have that much for this matchup. You would expect him to be pretty good game 1. He does. The 3 Croson Grip obviously are going to be very important. Being able to deal with equipment is one of the main things that Dustin deck lacks game 1. So I'd say the Croson Grips definitely come in. Beyond that, though, Meddling Mage maybe, but I just don't see Meddling Mage being very effective in this particular matchup. It's really probably Croson Grip and nothing else. He's got Daze. Daze can be okay, but like we saw, it wasn't very good for him. It kind of stuck in his hand towards the end of the game there. So everything else, you can't board out any of your creatures, basically. Force of Will can be very important. And obviously Swords to Plowshare. It's a question of, do you like Jace the Mind Sculptor or Daze in this particular matchup? I personally like Jace a lot. Don't think I want to board that card out. So I think I board out some of my Dazes.
4 Thoughtseize, a Scavenging Ooze, a Kasali Pride Mage, a Choke, 2 Oblivion Ring, 2 Zealous Persecution, Ethos Worn Canonist, a Gaddock Teague, and 2 copies of Path to Exile. As far as options are concerned, well, Pride Mage was great, so I imagine another one of those is going to come in. Kind of like Scavenging Goose in these green mirrors. I don't love Choke, even though it's kind of interesting one of against this like kind of blue deck, but not really a blue deck. Oblivion Ring is great against a lot of Penn stuff since he's an equipment deck. You got to like Zealous Persecution against a True Name Noble Hierarch deck, so that one's pretty obvious. And then that path doesn't really seem all that good. I mean, the best creatures in Penn's deck are Geist and True Name, so.
Yeah, because if you path one of the 1-drop accelerants, he's getting to his 3-drop sooner anyway. So, yeah, the path doesn't make a lot of sense. But definitely like the Thought Seizes and even the Choke could be kind of problematic for this deck.
So the play that you mentioned with the, you know, to be able to cast all those spells in the same turn, just swords and drain them out with Deathrite. And as many things that we were talking about, potential lines of play. I guess Tenacious Tyler J on Twitter mentioned that in order to do that, he was kind of bottlenecked by his own Thalia.
Yeah.
He could remove Jute counters, I believe, to kill his Thalia, because he had 3 counters on it, he had 3 toughness. And the fact that he was bottlenecked on the mana, if he kills his own Thalia, he's able to make that play.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Get the job done.
He can make that play that turn.
Yeah. He kills his own Thalia, swords doesn't cost 2, it only costs 1. He has necessary mana to do everything. I wouldn't have seen it either. I mean, that's a pretty tough line to make and see through all that clutter there. So props to you for seeing that on Twitter. Jeez. Got to start things off with a Dryad Arbor. Both players keeping their opening hand. So if Herzog has a Swords of Plowshares to fire off, he's just going to play a Deathrite Shaman instead before passing the turn back over to Penn, who will take a draw. You see the Tundra in his hand. He's got another one.
Yeah, interesting. Dustin's deck has Dryad Arbor, but doesn't have Green Sun Zenith in his deck. A lot of these types of band decks, you see them, they play Green Sun Zenith as a way to search out that Dryad Arbor. It's kind of like a pseudo 1-drop accelerant. There's not many. There's really no green creatures in his deck to find. So.
See what Penn wants to do here. Looks like he wants to cast a 1-mana green spell. Not sure though. Yes, no, maybe so. How about a Stoneforge? That one's pretty good. That's going to resolve. Go with Searchin'. We'll see what equipment Dustin wants this go around. He's going to go with Jite. Stoneforge Mystic is one heck of a magic card, as Herzog will untap and take a draw here.
Yeah, you have arguably one of the best 1-drops and one of the best 2-drops ever made in Magic on the board right here.
Yeah.
This is Legacy. This is you can't play weak cards in Legacy. You gotta play only the best of the best.
That's why I don't play Goblins anymore, man. That's why it stopped.
I mean, Goblin Lackey, I'd say, was one of the better cards they made in
98.
Yeah, in a while. Yeah, it's been a while, but
you shouldn't take such pleasure of like beating a Stoneforge Mystic, because like if I was playing Goblins and I would manage to get by like Stoneforge Mystic and Batter Skull, I'd be like, yes, I beat it. It's like, why am I so happy?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be thrilled that I had to overcome the odds to beat that card.
Yeah, I'm so happy I'm a big dummy and played a deck that can't beat one of the best cards in the Legacy.
Oh, Stoneforge Mystic. You win. That's cool. You drew that. Here is a Deathrite Shaman coming to play off the Deathrite Shaman activation. You also see the Sylvan Library there for Herzog as well. Placing it center of his board so he makes sure he doesn't forget the complicated enchantment. Penn gonna tap 3 mana here. See if he has True Name again, maybe a Geist. It is a True Name Nemesis, and this is what his deck is all about, really.
Yeah, Stoneforge, True Name. That's, you know, True Name's so powerful that it's kind of reasonable that you kind of have decks that are just built around getting a bunch of pants on it and attacking with it.
Yeah, we saw Ty Thomason put this on the map in Dallas at the back end of last year when True Name came out, just playing a blue-white deck. That was the 1-2 punch. Stoneforge for equipment, play a True Name, kill you that way. Turtenwald won a Grand Prix with it. It's been here ever since. See what Herzog can do here as he takes a look at the top couple of cards here with the Sylvan Library, the mini brainstorm, as it were.
Ooh, it looks like he has a Gaia's Cradle, so he's going to be able to jump up his mana a little bit here. Deathrite Shaman, Gaia's Cradle. No lands in the graveyard currently. And looks like we might see a Green Sun Zenith. Yeah, so Green Sun Zenith for 2, I believe. Might see a Kozali Pride Mage. Obviously, that card was very important in Game 1. Could see a Stoneforge Mystic, too. But no, look, we're going to see Kozali Pride Mage. Make sure that Jete does not get equipped to that True Name Nemesis. So let's see what Dustin decides to do on his turn. It looks like he does have a Jace and that Umezawa Jete. He also drew a Wasteland for the turn, so can put some pressure on Thomas's man and deal with that Gaia's Cradle, which can get out of control very quickly. He might want to just cast the Jace here. and try to get a little card advantage off of it. Just playing the Jitte and equipping seems kind of weak, given that there's a Pride Mage in play.
So you're telling me he's going to go Stoneforge, True Name, Jace, huh?
Those are 3 solid cards.
2 of these cards were standard legal together. Yeah, okay. Jace is going to come into play here. See how he wants to use it.
Nice card there, Jace.
That was actually when I was on my hiatus from Magic when Callblade was a thing. And knowing me, I would not have played Callblade. I'm going to play Vampires.
Yeah.
I'll show everybody.
Yeah, I'll play Vampires.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable choice.
Yeah.
Oh, I lose to a Mortar Pod. All right.
I can't beat what you're doing. This is very frustrating.
Oh, you have a creature that basically searches 3 other creatures?
Yeah.
And then you're going to put them back on 2 of them on top of your library and just search them out again?
I can overcome this. I will play a Bloodghast. In comes True Name, it looks like. Is True Name going to come in here, or is it going to play defense? Seems like it might want to play defense to protect that Jace.
Yeah, you don't want to lose your Jace.
Yeah, that's what it's going to do. It's just going to hang out for a little bit here. Herzog going to untap, going to do a little Sylvan Library action here. Take a look at the top 3. Can pay 4 life to draw a card during the Sylvan Library, or just put 2 back.
And it looked like he had a Sword of Fire and Ice on top of his deck, which would be pretty huge because it would basically force Dustin to lose his Stoneforge Mystic or lose his Jace. Like, he'll have the option. I don't think he cares about his Stoneforge Mystic, given that he searched out his Jitte.
Yeah.
But still, at least Thomas will be able to get a Sword of Fire Ice into play. Plus, he has the Pride Mage to deal with the Jitte. So let's see if he does have that play.
Cradle's going to provide 3 mana right now. See if he wants to do that or not. A little unsure of himself. Trying to figure out what the best line is to get through this incredibly powerful board here from Penn of True Name, Stoneforge, and Jace. He's going to start by sacrificing that Verdant Catacombs and going down to 19.
Oh, so it looks like he did have a sword on his deck, but I think he might have shuffled it away with the Green Sun last turn. So he's going to search out a Dryad Arbor. That will net him another mana because it is a creature. So Gaia's Cradle now can tap for 4 mana. We could see another Green Sun Zenith here. Oh, no, it is that sword.
Yep.
So he has 1 mana floating. Let's see what he decides to equip here. He's going to equip the Deathrite Shaman. So if it attacks with the Exalted Trickery, it can attack for 4, which will kill the Jace. So let's see what he decides to attack here. Because of the Pearl Blue, True Name Nemesis cannot block it, which is one of the reasons people love Sword of Fire.
Yeah, it's a big reason that people have gone to this card. And to be fair, people also using True Name Nemesis have gone to it too, just because it allows you to win the game so quickly.
Yeah.
So will Penn block? I mean, it seems like he doesn't want to block with his Stoneforge, but he may have to. And yeah, this doesn't surprise me too much that he would make this block.
Yeah, and I think Thomas is still okay with this because, again, he does have a way to deal with Jitte, and now he's got that powerful sword in play. The question is, can Dustin draw a Croson Grip? I mean, Thomas is basically, if Dustin can't deal with the Sword of Fire and Ice, Thomas is in pretty good shape.
Another Wasteland comes into play here for Penn. He's got to really consider, I think, taking out one of those Cradles. Or excuse me, taking out the Cradle with one of those Wastelands.
Yeah, the Cradle was pretty huge for Thomas last turn. It gave him enough mana to do everything he wants to.
Yeah.
He still has mana up in order to activate the Quasali Pride Mage if he has to.
Brainstorm for Penn. He's going to draw 3. I have to put 2 back here in just a moment. Don't love the order of operations there by playing the Wasteland first. If you were to run to a fetch line, you could actually shuffle away some cards with the Jace, maybe look at some new ones. He played his land immediately. It didn't look like he ran into a fetch land, but got to be a little bit careful with that to make sure you can maximize your Jace appropriately, especially in a situation like this where you're in a pretty tough spot, as here comes the Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, your hand's pretty weak right now. You don't have that much to interact with the sword other than like chump blockers. So I agree with you. You kind of want to make sure that you maximize your Jace every turn because it's pretty much your most powerful way to get out of this.
True Name's going to come across for 4 here. 3 normal damage plus 1 Exalted from that Noble Hierarch. See if Penn wants to use this Wasteland. Well, it looks like he's going to go reaching now, and he will take down the Cradle. That'll slow down Herzog's development quite a bit. Still a lot of mana out there for Thomas, though. He's got the 3 lands and then 2 Deathrights. He's going to activate 1 Deathrite on the end step, remove that Stoneforge Mystic to gain a little bit of life. And again, we might see Noble Hierarch on jumping duty now.
Yeah, pretty much. Given the fact that he didn't have a sack land, he knows what 2 cards are on top of his library. He needs to make sure that he digs a card deeper. He can't get Jace locked right here. And the problem is that Thomas just doesn't have any way to break through right now. But again, sword is still going to be pretty good for him. Dustin's going to need multiple chump blockers here. Yeah, it looks like Deathright's coming over. Yep, Deathright's going to come over, attacking Jace again, it looks like. And yep, Noble Hierarch will jump right in front of it without hesitation. Dustin stays at 20. Thomas is at 17, but again, he's facing down 2 True Name Nemesis, so this could be an awkward situation where as long as he just keeps getting blockers into play, these True Name might just be able to win.
And he's got another blocker out there already in Dryad Arbor.
Yeah.
So that's the situation we could see. Now, neither Reliquary is going to gun that up a little bit because that can search for a Wasteland and get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But again, the race is certainly on. And there's also, you know, a Jace that's going to be brainstorming and stuff. So this is a different game, that's for sure.
And obviously, I know that Thomas has to concern himself with the race, but I'm surprised he's not digging a little bit more with that Sylvan Library, given the fact that he can gain 2 life with those Deathrite Shamans to kind of recoup some of that life. Because obviously, Sylvan Library lets you look at the top 3 cards of your library, but it also lets you pay 4 life to get one of those cards into your hand.
It cleared out of the way.
Yeah, so you can kind of dig a little deeper. He has to be concerned here that this plan won't work if Dustin has multiple chump blockers, and with active Jace, I mean, that's certainly realistic.
Swords of Plowshares kind of messes it up too, because sword, obviously the sword grants pro blue and pro red, does not grant pro white, however.
Yeah, so Thomas really needs, oh wow, so yep, he's gonna take out the Quasali Prime Mage, and here we can see the Jete come down and start getting equipped.
There's a Wasteland. Now it looks like it is Jete time. There's that. Follow up with an equip. Into the red zone we go with both of them, not messing around anymore. In for 6. Herzog's going to go down to 13. 2 charge counters coming on the GT.
Yeah, and this could be worse for Thomas. Because he has that sword, I think he's still in okay shape in order to top deck out of this. But yeah, he's obviously in a really tough spot right here. He's going to at least be able to get 1 hit off the sword, draw a card, deal some damage. Knight of the Reliquary could potentially take out the Jace. If I was Dustin, I'm not sure I attack with both of them. I think
it was aggressive.
With one. It was a very aggressive play.
Let's not forget one thing, though. You see the clock in the middle. We're under 1:30.
Okay.
And Herzog is up a game. You might have to get a little more aggressive now.
Yeah.
That's a real thing to be worried about.
So good draw there for Thomas. He drew another Green Sun Zenith, so now he can find the Quasali Pride Mage. But would you attack first, though, just to see what Dustin decides to do?
Maybe.
Oh, so he just looks like he just drew a Pride Mage.
Yeah, that's easy too.
So that's easier.
That'll slow down that GT a little bit.
So now you can actually, neither Reliquary that can take out Jace, and you can actually deal damage to Dustin with your sword and draw a card.
Oh, we're going somewhere here. See how these creatures are attacking here in a moment. We'll see what happens when the dust does settle. Man, crazy match between these 2 guys.
Yeah, this is, given, Dustin went turn 2 Stoneforge, turn 3 True Name Nemesis, turn 4 Jace, and he's still really struggling to win this game. It's so funny. It's the same thing with the first game. Things look so good for him. But Thomas is able to navigate his way right back into this simply on the power of the equipment. It just kind of shows you that, no matter how good True Name is, if you can't interact with equipment, it doesn't really matter. You know, and that was the main reason I think that people didn't like playing True Name Nemesis in basically in like a Bant shell, because you have no way to kind of kill True Name Nemesis or really interact with their equipment. You really need to, that's why I think people like the bug True Name version, because at least you have Abrupt Decay.
Yep.
And
Abrupt Decay is good in so many spots anyway.
Yeah.
Pride Mage can take down the GT. You see GT, the counters get removed to take down some creatures. Now there's a Zenith for 1.
This could potentially get a Mother of Ruins, which would...
I promise it's not Mother.
I'm sorry, Deathrite Champion. Yeah. Could only get green creatures.
Yep. Here's a replacement Deathrite.
So this game looks like there are still plenty of spells in the graveyard, or at least one. There's Swords of Plowshare, but I'm with you. I don't think this game's going to actually. I don't think anyone's going to win this game. I think it might go to time.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously the time has been called in the match. We'll make sure that's accurate along with whose turn it is right now. But it has just been a slog-it-out affair against these 2 creature decks. Just back and forth we go. And it's funny because it seems like the race would favor Penn right now, and depending on how many turns he gets to play, if he's turned 1, 3, and 5 or 2 and 4, he's attacking for 5 here, but Deathrite can gain some life, and Herzog may be able to keep his head above water, just barely. We'll see. There's Stoneforge.
Stoneforge is going to complicate things a little more. Might be able to get a Batter Skull here. Or a sword. Probably gets a sword if he still has it in his left in his deck. Yeah, so he's going to be able to play a sword. So yeah, this makes it very difficult. So turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. So Dustin's going to get 2 more turns. Deathrite can actually probably gain 4 life. But yeah, I'm with you. This is going to be pretty tough here. We might need to see a top deck Zealous Persecution. Otherwise, this game might be a draw.
I forgot that was in his deck. Jeez. That would be absurd. There's a sword.
I do think... Oh, no, he used a Green Sun Zenith on the Deathrite. So not sure he has another Green Sun in his hand. He's going to be able to look at the top 3 cards of his library.
1, 2, 3. Thalia, a green card, and a land.
Yeah, nothing too
I think it's a knight.
Yeah, I think it's a knight.
It's not a Zealous.
Yeah, and he can't really shuffle his library right now to get another card off the Deathrite hit. But even if I don't even think Deathrite is going to hit here, Deathrite might just stay untapped and activate to gain life, because he's just going to get chump blocked by the Stoneforge anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that he could do here, I think, is, if he's trying to draw just in a Zealous Persecution, his play could be attack with Deathrite. Oh, I guess it would just get blocked by a Stoneforge. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, because he could Knight of the Reliquary to shuffle.
Yeah, with the draw on the stack.
I just don't think that, I think Dustin pretty much just chump blocks there with Stoneforge. I can't imagine.
And we've seen him chump block before, so that's well within, his behavior to do.
Yeah, so let's see here. If Dustin just equips a sword, that's going to be 5, 8, and then 10 damage. So, yeah, I don't think Thomas can actually get out of this one unless that card that was left in his hand from the beginning of the turn is something really good.
Yeah, I don't know either. He's going to add some. He's going to add some mana here. Sacrifice the Savannah. What are we going to go searching for?
I mean, Green Sun Zenith would be good because you just need to kill the sword. Because if Dustin just attacks for 6, you can gain 2 life at least and go up to 7. Right now, though, if you gain 4 life, if you use both Deathrite damage, you're going up to 9. But that sword will do 2 damage to you after the attack.
So now, after a little mana gets added, we cast a Knight. Does that change things at all?
I know. It looks like one of the cards is a Thalia. I don't know what the last card is in hand.
Not sure that Knight changes anything.
Yeah, so I don't think... Yeah, this should be it then.
Maybe this is a situation where Herzog is maybe hoping that he won't kill him. I have an artifact removal spell in my hand, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe he's like, oh, well, I want you to be cautious. I'm going to float a mana here.
This forces the action. Going to gain 2, going to go up to 7, will Tom?
Yeah, his only hope is that Dustin only equips one of the true name and attacks that one creature. Yeah. If he attacks with both true names, then Thomas is dead.
That's what it looks like to me, too. Well, we'll see.
So, yeah, it looks like the Wasteland's taking out the Bayou here. Looks like Wasteland's going to take out another land. Yep. And at this point, Dustin knows what's up. It's like you're tapped out, you're going to gain 2 more life. As long as he does math correctly, we should see a swing here with both the true names.
Yep, there's your equip.
Yep, you just attack with both.
I think you just attack with both. And I think that should be a lethal one.
5/3 true name plus a 3/1, that's 8. And then Sword of Fire will do the last 2 points of damage.
I think Herzog, you can see the way he's holding his card now. I think he realized that, yep. And he's got to extend the hand. Penn is able to get it done on turn 3 of extra turns, and these 2 players are going to draw here in Indianapolis. Dustin Penn and Thomas Herzog both move on to 4-0-1.